Hi, my name is Reginald Andre, and I am a cybersecurity expert based in Miami, Florida, and the name of my company is Arc Solvers. Today, I'm going to be talking about a article that just came out about 2 hours ago that the FBI is admitting that they were authorized via the Justice Department and a U.S. court authorized to hack into US customers. And when I say customers, since I'm an IT professional, I'm going to just say US companies' computers for the sake of removing malware on their computers. So my videos are typically to business owners and explaining to them in plain English what's happening. So in my video today, I'm going to be talking very layman terms for the sake of letting you know what this all means and how to protect your business. So let's first do a recap. You have, based on Microsoft, on March the 2nd, they released that there was a big vulnerability in their Microsoft Exchange servers. Now, many times you may hear Microsoft Exchange and you're going to think cloud. However, there is still a big percentage of companies that still manage their emails physically at their office or at some type of collation center or whatever the case is. So specifically, there was about 30,000 Exchange servers that Microsoft is saying was compromised and that hackers were aware of these compromises. And Microsoft is saying, hey, look, you guys have to update these servers with these patches, because if you don't, it's going to be bad news for you. They're going to have access to your emails and they're going to spread this across your network. So Microsoft released that that statement. Now, next thing I want to talk about is a web shell. First, I'm going to give you the technical description and I'm going to give it to you in layman's term, because all of this has something to do with why the FBI is wanting to go into corporations inside the United States and why they were authorized to do it. So Webshell, by definition, is a malicious script used by an attacker with the intent to escalate and maintain persistent access on an already compromised application. So in layman terms, think of a web shell as a link. And here you have the US corporation, you have their server at their location, and then here you have the hackers. And a web shell is essentially a link that, even with a system that is already compromised and that's already cleaned, this link is still talking with the bad guys. And later on, the bad guys can decide, you know what, we're going to do another round of exploits. We're going to do another round of putting malware on these computers. So for the last month, Microsoft has been screaming, hey guys, you really need to be updating your servers. There's also been reports of hacking situations already. So now what the FBI essentially did through a court order in Texas is went to the courts and says, hey, we know that these US corporations have this web shell. Mother, may I, courts, can I be allowed to remove this web shell, to remove this link, so that these companies do not continue to get hacked? Because as you know, cyber crimes are on a rise. And unfortunately, our government has not been that proactive in helping corporations. So I'm not going to go political on this video, but I am going to give you two sides to let you kind of know what this side thinks and why they felt that it was right, and what another side may think and why they felt that the FBI stepped over its boundaries of what it was allowed to do. So on this side, I would probably give it an example such as a business leaving their door open at 3 a.m. and a police officer is driving by and he's ride that street many times. He's always, looking out for any that type of suspicious activities, and he sees that the door is open of this business, and he knows that's weird. Like, why would this door be open? So he goes in and he looks around and he sees that, man, all right, Everything looks good here, but but the door was just left open, maybe by an employee, forgot to close it or whatever the case is. So the police officer closes it to make sure that nobody else goes in. So remember when I was talking about Webshell and a link? It's the same aspect. Maybe that server was already compromised. Maybe IT was aware of it, or they were not aware of it. But what the FBI basically did is, look, we need to remove this web shell so that way the bad guys couldn't get back in. And that's kind of like the best analogy I can give you at the moment. It only happened 2 hours ago. So on the other side of the spectrum, you have people are like, wait, the FBI went into my server and did something. I didn't authorize this. This is a U.S. corporation. How could the FBI just get into my computer? What else did they do? What else were they doing while they were in there? Were they really trying to stop something, or were they spying on me? So you can kind of see the rabbit hole this can go in. And then I, as an IT expert, could also say, well, if they remove the web shell, what if the bad guy put a program on the web shell that when the web shell was removed, it sent a signal to what is called blue screen the computer. If you guys have ever had a blue screen on your computer, or on your Windows computer, that means that the computer would not turn back on. So just imagine in the future, the FBI goes into a private corporation's computer, removes the web shell. The web shell has a trigger that says if we detect that someone's trying to remove this web shell, it sends a signal to destroy the computer. And in destroy the computer in IT is basically the computer cannot no longer function. It can no longer boot up. It can no longer provide the services that it was intended to do. So now what happens? The corporation finds out that the FBI was in their computer, never told them about it. And now the corporation is calling the FBI and saying, hey, look, you guys crashed our computer. You went into my computer. It's your fault. I'm suing you. And again, that can just go into a whole rabbit hole. This video is not meant to be any political, but I just wanted to give you both sides of where we're going with this. Also, for the FBI, their side of the story, they're saying, guys, you guys are vulnerable. Your IT department sucks, or they're slow, or whatever the case is. We did this so that your situation would not get worse, and we were just trying to help. So again, it's a very touchy situation, but for me as a cybersecurity professional, I was very surprised that this law even existed that allowed the FBI to go into these computers without first giving the owners a heads up or permission. Now, if this corporation was doing something illegal and the FBI went into their servers and hacked into their servers and they had a court order, that's a totally different scenario because they were doing something illegal. But in this case, again, what some people on this side are saying is, hey, we're law-abiding citizens, we pay our taxes, we don't want the FBI sniffing into our systems. So I'll leave it there. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is many people, or I would say the majority of people that the FBI did go in to help, they have not been notified of the corporation. They did not notify the corporations yet. So, and this even gets a little more bizarre because the way the FBI is going to notify the corporation is by sending them an email stating, hey, look, FBI here, you guys had a web shell, which is the link, and we noticed it, and we went ahead and took care of it for you. You can thank us later. I always train my customers that if you get any email that you're not expecting, especially something from the government, especially someone claiming to be the FBI, even if it says at fbi.gov, you do not click on the link. You do not call them. You do not send them money. You don't do anything. You junk it or send it to us and let us investigate it. So I'm very surprised that the FBI is going to be sending email notifications to the companies that they did access their servers to let them know that they accessed their server. This is why, this is what we did, and that's it. Now, the FBI is also saying that if for whatever reason they have trouble figuring out what server that was, because it's not like a public information, what they're going to now do is they're going to contact that server's internet provider. So the way it works is you have a server, your server needs internet. So your server has an IP address. So they're going to now map that IP address to who the provider is. That could be AT&T, that could be Comcast, et cetera, et cetera. And then now they're going to send that email to the provider and then direct the provider to send the email to the person that or the corporation or the owner of that server. So again, as a cybersecurity professional, I would also tell my customer, you got to flag those type of emails because it's not common. And unless the FBI is knocking on your door and you're checking that badge, then you need to be careful. So that's kind of it for now. This story just happened to appear about 2 hours ago, and I wanted to be first to let you guys know what this was, because you're probably going to see a lot of articles, a lot of news, newspapers and blogs talking about it. But our videos are always to business owners, and we're just trying to explain what this means in layman's term and how to apply it to your business. So if you've been watching the video this long, I do appreciate it. Just a final reminder to please like and subscribe. And if you are a business owner and now you're trying to figure out, hey, did they get into my system? Well, the easiest way to know is, did you have or do you have a email server that you have in your office, or that you may put it in some type of co-location, which is a place where a secure place where you can host your servers? And if the answer is yes, then the next question is it a Microsoft Exchange server? And if the answer is yes, then the question is, what version is it? Because it applies to certain versions. And then from there, that's when you're going to want to get with a cybersecurity expert so that they can help you determine. And there are documented ways to know if that server is vulnerable. And that is something that you're going to want to do right away. If you have any questions, feel free to put your link, your questions in the comments, and let me know. What side are you? Are you feel comfortable with the FBI going into a corporation's computer for this type of thing, or do you think, hey, you know what? If the door was left open, then that's on the business owner, because cybersecurity right now, hacks are happening so much, and the government is just trying to figure out, how do we step in to help out the citizens? Because you have nation states hacking, you have 16-year-old kids hacking, and everything in between. And I'm sure the FBI is a very tough position to when they know something is wrong, and they're just trying to do what they have to do as fast as possible. And then now they're going to get criticism from both sides because they may or may not have overstepped their boundaries. So I look forward to your comments, and I'll be sure to reply once you type them in below. Thank you.